Fitness-wise, where are you looking? Where are we?
Yeah.
Everyone really sick. Palmer has James, has Jorgensen.
No, in terms of sickness, the players are coming back gradually to full health. We've had to be very careful with that. Esteval was very ill. Jamie Gittins was very ill. So that altered our plans over the week in terms of what we wanted to do. But thankfully, the lads have come through that. Enzo as well. Cole's in a good place. Joined training today, which is really positive, and we'll assess his reaction to training. Jorgensen had his scan, which is actually quite positive and not as bad as we first feared. He won't be available for Palace, but could be potentially for Napoli. Other than that, all is good.
And in terms of, I know you spoke quite a lot about Tishesi and Sterling. Any movement on either of them, given its open transfer window?
No, but we know the last week in January can get very busy. But no, at the moment, there's nothing new to report.
And in terms of them on a personal level, are you hopeful that they can go and continue their careers somewhere else, that someone will come in? Because it feels such a waste for both, doesn't it?
Well, for me, I want every player that I work with to have the best career possible. So for me, whether that's moving, whether that's being here, you want to find the right solution for every player that you work with, and those two are no different.
You mentioned Palmer there. Clearly, it's been a very difficult season for him in terms of injuries. There's been quite a few reports this week that he's maybe not happy here, that maybe there might be a move on the cards. What's your assessment of the situation? First of all, how happy is he right now as a Chelsea player?
I've had numerous conversations with Cole, and he seems very, very happy to be here. He is very, very happy to be here. He's a huge part of our plans in the long term. He's an outstanding player. Every player goes through difficult moments in their careers in terms of injury. I don't think it's any reflection on his quality. He's an outstanding footballer. But my job and the club's job is to get him in a place where he can consistently perform at the level that he wants to. And there was frustration in the Brentford game, not because he wasn't happy here, just because he couldn't perform. He was in pain. He couldn't perform to the level he wanted to do for the club. He's a great kid, and he's an outstanding player, but we have to make sure that we look after him in the right way. That's why I haven't involved him in the last game.
Is he 100% fit? Have you absolutely, you're, I think, about the third manager that sat here and had to sort of talk about Palmer's injuries and how you managed them and whether or not you've really got to the bottom. Are you confident that he's on the way to being 100%?
That's my job. That's my job now. I want to look after the players, not to be nice to them. I want them to perform at their very peak level. So I think, not just in terms of Cole, there's a number of players in our group that we have to look after in a different way and not just force them out not to perform. I've got trust in the group. I've rotated with the squad, and I'll continue to do that because I want us to be involved at the end of the season in big games and big competitions. So at the moment, we're in January. I want to make sure all the players come through this period with wins, but in full health, and Cole's one of those players.
Thanks, Gail. Alex?
Hi.
Hey.
4 games in 4 different competitions. What lessons have been there?
Lessons, loads, in terms of individual performances, in terms of the improvements that I've asked for. There's been really, really positive signs. I thought our counter-pressing and our energy levels and our intensity was very, very good in the last few games. That needs to continue. So yeah, there's loads of lessons for me and my staff to learn, and there's probably a lot more to come as well.
You enjoying it?
Loving it.
Looking ahead to Crystal Palace, with Mark Gahey leaving, the Oliver Glasner news, uncertainty around Jean-Philippe Mateta's future. Is this a good time to play them, would you say?
I think it can be reported in that way. What I do know is they're an outstanding team. Selhurst Park is, for me, one of the most difficult places to go in the Premier League. You have to be ready for a physical battle. The atmosphere in the stadium is going to be red hot. So we're not taking the game lightly at all. I was fortunate enough to play against Crystal Palace early in the season. I know what a good team they are, and we're going to have to be very, very good to win the game.
I know there are no easy games in the Premier League.
For sure. I don't look at it that way. I've said to the players, you focus on the next game. It's very simple. I'm focused on Crystal Palace. After that will be Napoli. You start trying to create runs or look ahead in this league, you see how difficult it is, you'll come unstuck. So the focus is on Crystal Palace and putting on the best performance we can. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Nizar?
Hi Liam, I just wanted to ask you, Dario Sugo and Lavia's obviously injured. Dario Sugo's not been in the last two squads. I was wondering if you're a bit short in midfield at the moment and if that's something that could be addressed in January.
Yeah, unfortunately Dario picked up a really unfortunate injury. He slipped in training, and he's going to be out for a while, over a month, which is a real shame because he's an outstanding player as well that I was really looking forward to working with. Romeo's on the way back, which is great because he's, again, I say it about every player, I think, outstanding. He's a very, very good player at a very high level. But in terms of my midfield options, you've got Enzo, Moy, Andre Santos, Reece James. It's not bad. And I'm been really clear on this. I don't want to bring in players that don't enhance the group or the chemistry that we're building. So we have to be very selective at this stage of the season. To, if we do bring in the right player in a certain position, they have to have a clear impact on the team.
No one doubts Romeo's quality. He's always been excellent when he has played for Chelsea, but is there a bit of a concern that you can't quite rely on him at this minute, and maybe it's even better if he just goes away, focus on his fitness for the rest of the season, because there's no time frame on his return?
No, I want him back as quickly as possible, but I want him back as quickly as possible with no more injuries. That's the difference. I don't want to force him. We just had a conversation about Cole or other people in the squad. I've got a good enough squad to manage the group, I feel, and get results, but also I want Lavia to come back in a place where we know that he can get game time and get repetitive games and get a flow, because he's an outstanding player.
And I've seen that Strasbourg, you were quite flexible with your systems and you used the back three at times as well. Obviously, since you've been here, it's been a bit more stable. There has been some flexibilities, but I was wondering if you would ever look at a back three for Chelsea again. They've got great history in a back three with Conte, Thomas Tuchel and things like that. Yeah,
I adapt to each game. I'm adapting to my group at the moment. The mid-season to come in and try and change everything, it's crazy. And actually things have been in a decent place before I came. You'll see over time the way I adapt systems or especially defensive organisations. I'm flexible, but at the moment it's about what's best for the group and what they're used to, because as I've said before, there is literally no training time on the training pitch right now. We are playing, recovering and playing again, and for the next 2 or 3 months it's going to be that way.
Thanks, Nizar. Simon?
Hi, you obviously played in an era without VAR. Is it something you want to keep, and if so, what is one thing you want to change?
No, I think with the level of scrutiny and pressure on the games, you always want to have something that gives the referees help to make the best decisions, to make the correct decisions. The one thing for me is the time it takes. For the flow of the game, for a spectacle, for fans to watch the game and enjoy it. If we can come to the right decision quicker, that would be the best thing for me.
And Chelsea haven't won away from home in the league for a couple of months. That obviously has to improve, doesn't it, if you're going to finish in the Champions League?
Yeah, it sounds crazy. I haven't even been aware of the record before I've been here. I'm focused on each game. That's certainly something I haven't seen. It's something that I'm not paying attention to. I know that if this group of players perform in the manner that I expect them to, we have a great chance of winning any game against any team. And we just have to focus on that going into Crystal Palace.
Thanks, Simon. And we'll finish with Rob.
Hi, Liam. Moise Caicedo said on Wednesday that he's happy to be seen as a leader around the place, even though he's not the loudest in the dressing room. Reece James has said before that he's not necessarily the most vocal around the place. Is that kind of leadership sufficient, do you think, given that it's a young, inexperienced squad? Or do players like this need more of a focal point, something a bit more visible?
No, I'm happy with the leadership in my group. No, I play with players who are very loud, who shout and point and actually don't lead because they hide from the ball and don't take responsibility. I won't name names, but there's different ways to lead. There's different ways that you lead. I think that, our generation, my generation is different to the younger generation in terms of communication, but I love the group that, whether it's Reece or Enzo or Moy or Trevor Chalobah or Tosin, they're all leaders in their own right, and they have to be themselves. I'm not going to ask them to be something that they're not, but at the same time I'm very, very happy with the leadership in my group.
What makes a good
someone who's authentic and honest, trustworthy and true to themselves.